everybody, it's me, John Ward, and I am back with another Reviews After Midnight. And this month, we are going to be taking a look at a film that came out in 2001 and is getting a lot of hate. And I really liked it. I purchased it because I heard it was getting so much hate and kind of took a risk, and I really liked the film. So, I'm going to be using the sheet that I normally use. I'm going to be looking at IMDb, Wikipedia, my phone, and stuff like that for this review. Um, so let's start with the sheet. Basically, it says here film title. Well, that would be the film, The Resort. And great cover. I love that cover. This thing has just been getting hate everywhere. Is it perfect? No, but man, I don't think it deserves the hate that it's been getting. It says here, would you also include a star rating? So let's say 1 out of 5. I don't know. I would give this probably like three stars out of 5. Um, so maybe even 3.5, 3.5, something like that, but definitely 3. I just don't get the hate that. I mean, I went onto YouTube and I watched reviews, and people were just trashing on it. I read some reviews online, tried to do some research on the film, and they were just trashing on it. And I sent a Facebook, like friend request to the director, um, hoping to communicate with him to maybe have him on One Filmmaker, One Film, where we could talk about this because I really enjoyed this. Um, so let's see. Introduction. What you expected from the film. To be entertained. I'm so tired these days of political agendas, woke agendas, the message, all that stuff. I've mentioned this before in other interviews or other videos that I've done. Well, interviews, movie reviews, anything. I am Democrat, and I don't want political crap in my stuff. I just don't. I'm a big Star Trek fan. Star Trek has always been political, but now it's like, oh, with Star Trek Picard, it's like a Trumpian type, Starfleet. I don't want it. I lasted 2 episodes and turned it off. I just don't want it. And that's all it is. And it's on both sides. If you don't like a film, you're racist. If you add politics to it, then the right hates you. It's like you can't win on either side, and I'm just tired of it. And I'm sorry for kind of having a little speech here about it, but I just want to be entertained, and I was entertained. So the film is 75 minutes, which is perfect. I think for like indie movies, 75 minutes is absolutely perfect. And this has no political agenda. It has no message, except for maybe just don't go where you shouldn't go. If there's a giant fence wrapped around an abandoned resort, don't go in it. I mean, I would, but I mean, don't go in it if there's any sort of message. I was just thoroughly entertained. So, what did I expect from the film? I just wanted to be entertained for 75 minutes, and I was. So, it succeeded. What type of film is it? Oh, it doesn't have a message. Don't go into places you're not supposed to go would be the message. What type of film is it? It's a horror film, a kind of like a supernatural type film. And yeah, there's ghosts and other things like that. The plot. What happens in the film? Does the plot make sense? Is it easy enough to follow? Is it believable? So let's read. So I'm going to read the back of the box here for you. And it says, 4 friends head to Hawaii to investigate reports of a haunting at an abandoned resort in hopes of finding the infamous half-faced girl. When they arrive, they soon learn you have to be careful what you wish for. And this is written and directed by Taylor Shin. I want to say I might be pronouncing his name wrong, but he's also one of the producers on it. So yeah, hopefully I'm not pronouncing his name wrong. But and it stars Bianca Haas or Haas maybe, Brock O'Hearn, who looks just like Jason Momoa, definitely in Aquaman. Michael Valmis, Valamis, and Michelle Rudolph. So it's, yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. Is the film starts off with two security guards. So we find out that the the island is a place where nobody goes. The hotel is, or the resort is abandoned. There is a huge fence around it, and people don't go there. The place was abandoned 2 years earlier. There was a murder of a tourist, or there was a, I'm sorry, there was a murder of a local girl. Tourist did it. They tortured and killed her. Um, they the employees would hear noises and voices, and if somebody took a shower and let's say the mirror got kind of fogged up, they would find writing on the mirror and all this weird stuff. So everybody quit and they left the island, and people don't go back there. There is a small group of people that work on the island, like security guards, to make sure that people basically just stay away. And but they're on, if the resort is here, they're like way over here. They're far away from it. They only come in to do work and then they leave. um so it begins with two security guards, and they're walking around the creepy place. They find like a bottle of alcohol. They see like a smashed window. Um and one of the guards decides to scare the other guard, and I guess he has bad breath or something. And the guy goes, "Dude, your breath." And the guard with the bad breath gets pulled back. He gets yanked into the darkness, and we hear a scream. My problem with this scene is one, both of the security guards look identical. They both have like 5 o'clock stubble. They both have a bald head. They're more or less the same height. Of course, they're wearing a security suit, so they look the same. I originally thought while watching it that it was one person until they met up and then realized, oh, it's two people. Um, there, they might have wanted to just cast two people that looked different. The security guard that gets pulled into the darkness could have been done better. I mean, it's almost done instantly. So it's not really like a jump scare or a shock or anything. There's no build up to him being pulled away. Um, I probably would have done it differently. I would have let people think that was going to happen. And they're talking about his breath, and and they're commenting back and forth on his breath, if that's what it was. And then just yank him out of the shot. Give it some breathing room so people go, oh, okay, well, maybe he isn't going to get pulled into the darkness or something, and then do it. But this was just done so quickly that I had to go back and watch it. I think I went back twice to watch what happened. And so that, I don't mind the guards there. I don't, all that stuff worked, but it was just, the guards scaring each other is fine. It's just the yanking, I think, could have been prolonged a little bit to make us think something was not going to happen, and then it does. From there, we cut to, and that's on the island, like the Hawaiian island that they're on. And then we cut to the mainland, and we see a group of friends. There's four of them, two couples, so two guys, two girls, and it's a birthday. Our lead girl, who is Lex, that's played by Bianca Haas, and then the other ones are Chris, who's the Jason Momoa looking guy, that's Brock. O'Hearn, and then there's Sam. That's Michael Valamis, and then there's Bree, who's Michelle Rudolph. And it's weird because as I look here on IMDb, they list people here that I don't remember being in the movie. So maybe some of this is cut. There's Richard Teston, waterfall guy. Well, they do go to a waterfall, but unless maybe he's a stunt double for some nudity that was done, um, I don't know. I don't remember him. There's Kevin Petito as landlord Randy. I don't remember there being a landlord in this either. There's somebody, um, Thomas Sanchez, car buyer. No, there was no car buyer in there. And Maria Olson, who I've talked with a few times. She was going to be in a film that I hope to make one day called Ghoul, but it says bookstore ghost, and I don't remember there being a bookstore ghost either. Um, so yeah, Casey, uh, I don't know, Dakini, Mrs. Kindle. I don't know. Maybe unless these people had like tiny, 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 tiny little roles, I don't remember any of these people being in it. It's weird unless they just got cut out, but they were left in the cast. So, anyways, it's Lex's birthday, and Chris, Sam, and Bree buy her a ticket to go to this Hawaiian island where this haunted resort is. Um, Lex is writing a book about the island and about the resort. And Chris, Bree, and Sam found a helicopter pilot who would fly them over. They couldn't find anybody else. Nobody would take them to this haunted island, and who would fly them over. So we then, they discuss the island a little bit. Cuts to the next day. They're waiting in a hangar for the helicopter guy. Um, the helicopter guy is flying them to the island. He kind of believes in the stuff on the island, but doesn't believe in stuff on the island. He drops them off on basically like the edge of the island and says that they need to be on a, if they want to leave that night, they have to be on a boat in 6 hours that will take them back to the mainland. But it's still going to take them like an hour or so to walk to the resort or hike to the resort. And so they leave. Lex is convinced by the others to stop off at a waterfall and spend some time there swimming. And she, regret, she kind of against her will says, "Fine, we'll do it." Against her better judgment type of thing. Is she just wants to get to the resort. That's the whole reason why they're there. And they do some swimming, and so this is what I'm thinking. Like the actor who plays Sam, or the character Sam, gets naked, so we see his butt and everything, and he jumps into the water. Maybe that's Waterfall Guy in the IMDb credits. Like that was a stunt double for the actor, I guess, because there's only the four of them at the waterfall. They leave, and then they think they see a ghost, but it ends up being like some sheets that are just kind of caught to a tree blowing. And they end up at the resort, and they walk around, and this resort is a beautiful location to film in. I've done some research on this, and unfortunately I just cannot find the article that I was reading. I've looked on Bing, I've looked on Google, I just cannot find the article. And I can't figure out if this resort is an active resort that was just shut down for the season, and then art direction went around and threw in like palm tree leaves and knocked over tables and knocked over lounge chairs and just made the place look all deserted. Um, or if this place is really abandoned. From what I read with the director, is that it sounds like the place was actually abandoned. And he did mention that the story that's in the film is based on some sort of reality. So he tried to keep it authentic. Um, and it sounds a lot like Poltergeist. If this is true, is like the resort was built on sacred land, and there were these spirits, and the guests and the people who worked at the hotel did see weird things, and they decided in that this girl was attacked and killed, and that so I don't know. It's weird. I read some stuff that kind of contradicts it, and then things that said that it's real. So I don't know. The the DVD is completely empty. It's a bare bones DVD. There's nothing. There's no trailers. There's no nothing. In the credits, it does say BTS, which I'm assuming means behind the scenes. So somebody was probably shooting behind the scenes. I would love to see some sort of behind the scenes or audio commentary or an interview with the director or something, because even the interview that I read with him didn't make it clear if this place was truly abandoned or not. And when I looked it up on Google, just pictures of the actual resort, it looked pretty clean. So I don't know. I'm very confused. But the characters end up walking around the island and or walking around the resort, and not so I'm sorry, I'm kind of jumping around a little bit here, but there are like films have three acts. And this is like the first act of this film is they're on the mainland, they're getting to know we're getting to know the characters a little bit, where we don't really know a lot about them. And I read some reviews that complained about that, like what do they do for a living, how did they get money to go on this trip. It's 75 minutes. I don't care. I really don't care about any of that type of stuff, because they're going to get murdered anyways. So why do I care if one of them works at a bank? Or why do I care if one of them has a trust fund and so they're able to pay for this trip? People go on vacations all the time. Um, my friends go on trips a lot, and they're just normal, regular people that work regular jobs. So what does that really matter? But um, so the first act is really just getting to know them. Once we hit the island, so now we're into like act two, they from them walking from the helicopter to the resort is more of kind of character development into what do they think about the supernatural. And there's the basically the actor who plays Sam, who is, I read one review that said that he's like the best character in it. I thought he was the worst. The actor did a good job playing him. That there's always that one friend that's the total dick in all these movies, and he's the practical joker. He's the guy that would basically get them in trouble, wherever they went. And he's the non-believer, while someone like Bree, who's kind of the girl that he's with, I don't think Lex and Chris are boyfriend and girlfriend. I don't think Sam and Bree are boyfriend and girlfriend. I think that they're friends, but there's that connection between them. Like if they had survived the island and everything was fine and normal, that they would eventually become boyfriend and girlfriend. So I don't think any of them were actually dating, but it was that beginning of an interest in dating, is kind of the impression that I got. So Bree's the believer, Sam is not. We see a lot of the island, like the waterfall and some other things. So them being on the mainland, I liked it was with the first act because we got that location. And then for the second act, we get them walking on the island. And the island is beautiful. I wish that the DVD looked better, because you could tell it's very bright. The picture itself is kind of dull, but the surroundings look beautiful. And if they brought this out on Blu-ray or let's say 4K or something, it would look gorgeous. There is a film called The Snowman, and it's not a very good movie. but when you watch it, it is absolutely beautiful. I mean, just I want to buy the movie just for how gorgeous it looks. And I think this could have the same thing. Um, so that part two of them walking around having these conversations about the supernatural and other things, I like. We also get those little touches of the characters kind of flirting with each other and liking each other, which was nice too. Then Act Three is them actually at the resort, and that's when everything starts happening. And they go to a room that's called 306. It's kind of like The Shining in a way, where it's the one room at the resort that everything happens. And that's where all the voices are happening. That's where the writing on the mirrors is happening. That's where like lights flickering happen. That's the whole thing. And like nobody would go to that room. So that's the first room they go to. And pretty much from that moment on is when everything bad starts to happen. I don't know if this was a kind of like an intentional slow burn, or maybe by mistake it's a slow burn. Um, but it does take a while, and like I said, the film's only 75 minutes, so it does take a while for things to happen, but they do once they hit room 306. And and I was never bored up to that minute. Now, some people, like I said, I'm kind of jumping around here a little bit, but some of the reviews I read said that the acting was atrocious. Some of the reviews said the acting was pretty good. I would say that the only part of the acting that was kind of bad was at the beginning when they bring Lex the birthday cake. That's a little iffy. I don't know why that scene in particular with the cake, they, I don't know. There's something off about the acting in that, but otherwise the acting is fine. I have no problem with the acting in the movie at all. Also, the film is non-linear. So Lex, and this is kind of from the beginning of the movie forward, is in a hospital bed and she is talking to a detective. And that's Dave Sheridan plays the detective. And he's asking her questions, talking about her phone. She says, check my phone. There's a bunch of pictures. He's like, there's no pictures on your phone. We need to go find out what happened to your friends. You were found like wandering around. That's why you're in the hospital. And she keeps talking about this half-faced girl and they kind of go back and forth between the hospital and the past. We also find out that the security guards at the beginning of the film come later. So the bottle that they find is a bottle that Sam had. And then the window that was smashed is a window that Chris smashed with, I think he has a sledgehammer. And this is also another reason why I wonder, like, is this place really abandoned? Because I would imagine that this didn't have a huge budget. So once there's a couple windows that are smashed. There's Sam smashes a window with two like cylinder blocks, and he makes a hole, and then he throws another one and makes the hole bigger. And they're like, "Dude, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Well, the place is abandoned. Who cares?" And then, which to me is anytime that you do that, you're disrespecting the place. I don't believe in ghosts or whatever it is, but if you're going to be in an abandoned whatever it is, and it's considered haunted, even if you don't believe, it might be best to leave shit alone. Because if you're fucking around with it, like he screws around with like a cart, once you start messing with stuff, then who knows? If it is real, you're disturbing things that are there. You're smashing windows and stuff. Now, when they try to escape, because they're hearing the voices, they're seeing things and all that, and they're like, we got to get the hell out of here. Um, he uses like a sledgehammer to smash the window open or the door open. It's like a glass door to escape because they see the security truck. And what it is that the security guard like I said, sees the alcohol bottle that Sam was drinking from, sees the glass that was smashed, that Sam smashed. So the beginning of the movie is actually more like an hour into the film. So the film is non-linear. It jumps around, kind of like what I'm doing. And which leads me, once again, is this place abandoned or not? Because maybe if it's not abandoned, maybe the owners of the resort said it was okay to smash things as long as they cleaned up and replaced them. So I don't know, but they have completely left my list. Um, but as they're seeing things and they're trying to get out of the resort, which, like I said, is beautiful. It's a few levels high. They're it's just this place is perfect for filming. I mean, this is a filmmaker's wet dream. It would be filming at this place, and it just looks great. And I could cruise around there all day, taking videos and pictures, and just walking from room to room. I wouldn't care if it was haunted or not. You know, if that's what the what the neighbor or the locals say. I don't care. I could spend like the whole day there. But they do find the security guy's truck, and there's a conflict of, do they steal the truck or not? Bree gets into the truck. She gets locked in. They can't get her out. The truck starts up on its own and it speeds. And I think it's a second floor balcony that it drives off of, crashes. Chris goes down and looks, and Bree is dead. So she's the first one to die. So they're like, oh shit. So we got to get out of here. And they make their way to the outside. Now, the way that they got in through the fence, because there's this fence that's around the resort, is they find a hole. And so it's a fence, and there's a cut in the fence, and then there's like a tarp that's going around it, and they kind of tear the tarp open. They go in. They can't find that hole. I don't know if the director was implying that they were just lost, and maybe the hole was a mile down the road and they just weren't close to it, or if the hole like resealed itself. Like they were in the right area, but just through the forces there, maybe through an illusion or something like that, that the hole was sealed. And there is kind of a dumb moment where Chris goes, I'm going to dig my way out. And he starts pulling weeds up and trying to, when if the idea is that they're just in the wrong spot, then just walk the fence and eventually you'll hit that hole. But I'm not sure if the director was implying that the hole was there, but a mile away, or it's just, they just can't see it. So I'm not really sure. They're eventually eventually the half-faced girl, who is, she's almost like Two-Face. One side is fine and the other side is all messed up. She's the girl that was murdered by the tourists. She does come up. She attacks Sam, kills Sam, or at least possesses Sam. And I think she kills him, then possesses him. And Chris and Lex find him facing the wall. And I'm tired of this. I'm tired of the whole Blair Witch face, like people faced in a corner. Another thing that I would have done that would have been different is do the flip of it, reverse it. Have Sam turned to the camera looking down, and then have the characters go up. Now, there is kind of a cool effect where Sam's head turns all the way around and then his body twists around with it. You wouldn't be able to do that if you did my idea, where he's just standing right in front of them with his head down, and then his head comes up, and he would look all evil, kind of Evil Dead like. But I think that would have been different than just kind of redoing the Blair Witch again. And he is, he basically gets into a fight with Chris, ends up killing Chris. He takes his foot and just squashes his entire head, just flattens it. Chris kind of sacrifices himself for Lex. And then he's kind of left there, and then she escapes, only then to find Bree, who is possessed, who's got some like cool eye contacts in, makes her eyes all white, and she looks kind of cool. And they she it's weird is she lights a match, drops it. It doesn't really show her being engulfed in flames, but Lex screams like she's in some white room, and she screams with her arms down at her side. And that then she's back in the hospital bed talking to the detective. And she's saying that the half-faced girl is real, and that her friends were killed. And then and the thing with Sam is, and there is a cool effect with him, is the half-faced girl does come from behind him and grabs his face like this and pulls all the skin off. And it's just this kind of like a, I don't know, like an orange or a banana, that it's just his face is all peeled back. And that looked pretty cool. Um, and the detective's just like, well, I don't know. I'm finding it kind of hard to believe what you're telling me, but we need to go back and try and find your friends. His phone rings, and she goes to take she lifts her phone up, and I don't know if she's trying to find the photos that she took, but she has it on camera, and she moves in the picture, and she could see all these veins. And when Sam got possessed, he had all these veins on him, like the blood, like these purple veins on his face and his arms and stuff. And the detective has the same thing now. And she's like, oh, like, oh shit. And she lowers the camera, and there's the detective, and he's like all possessed and demoned out. And he attacks her. She falls off the bed. She runs, sees what looks like to be the half-faced girl. She runs out of a room, and she sees herself all kind of possessed. And that's where the film ends. And I didn't like, I'm like, what? So I rewatched like 3 times. And then I decided to uh check like Wikipedia, because there is a whole thing on this, and it says, after taking a picture of the detective, she notices that he has the similar veins to that of the possessed, which would have been Sam, and lowers her phone. The place crumbles around her. I didn't see any crumbling. And it reveals that she is still back at the resort. She never left. So I don't know if. So I'm guessing that the hospital, her in the bed, are still on the island, and that she's at the resort in some kind of weird twist. Because then after that all happens, the camera goes outside, and we're looking at it's a shot looking straight down at the resort, and it's got this almost kind of like pinkish purple color. It looks very cosmic horror, kind of HP Lovecraft, that's around the hotel. So I'm guessing that means that she is still in the resort. And so I wanted to do research on that, and I was a little confused. Like I said, I watched it like 3 times. So I guess she passed out, woke up in the hospital, but she's still on the island at the resort. So I don't know. This I'm the way I'm telling it makes it sound like maybe that I didn't like the movie, but I really liked it. I would almost say, I mean, it's supernatural, but I don't know, with the ending shot being this kind of weird pink purple color of the resort, it could almost be cosmic horror, which I love. So maybe that's why I enjoyed this. But yeah, it would have been nice if this had some sort of audio commentary or something like that. Um, it does say 2019 and then 2020. So maybe it was made in 2019, and it says 2020, but then everything else is 2021. There is a show called The Resort that's 2022, which I think these get confused together. Um, but yeah, I would recommend this. So let's just quickly go over. Let's see anything else here. Um, what happens in the film? We already went over. Does the plot make sense? I think so until the very end. Um, is it easy to follow? Yeah, until the very end. Is it believable? Sure, until the very end. Um, who are the main characters and what are they like? So we kind of went over those. Who are the actors playing these parts and are they good in their parts? We went over the actors' names and the character names. Um, the Brock guy, the guy who plays Chris, I read that he was the guy who I don't think he started it, but he made it fashionable on Instagram for man buns. So, uh, okay. Um, what is the camera work like? The camera work was good. The camera work was fine. I just think that the DVD is kind of flat color wise. Otherwise, it could be really nice if they brought it out on a better format. Um, if there are special effects, what are they like? There's the half-faced girl looks pretty good. She does move a little grungy. The cracking of the bones and how she kind of moves and stuff like that is kind of reminds me of like The Grudge or The Ring, which is a little boring. I mean, I think we're kind of tired of that stuff too. But she looked fine. She looked okay. Then there's the face being pulled back with Sam. That looked really good. Chris's head being exploded with Sam's foot looked really good. Always in for a good head explosion. It could be from a gun blast or a foot or something dropping on it, but like a something heavy. Always the head exploding is always good. Um, are there beautiful scenes? It's shot in Hawaii, of course, so it's going to look gorgeous. Are there moments when the camera was used in an interesting way? Yes or no. I mean, I have no complaints about the editing. Well, the editing, yeah, kind of. But the camera work was fine. The camera work looked good. I would, if I was shooting in that area with that type of set, with that abandoned resort. And he did, and the director did do this a lot, but yeah, I would shoot in as many wide shots as I could to get the scope of it and just show how awesome looking it is. Um, did you enjoy the film? Yes, and I love one location movies. I love taking people and putting them in an unusual circumstance, like a haunted resort. Um, I like things like haunted resorts, haunted houses, haunted castles. It could be a haunted space station. It doesn't matter. I like all that type of stuff, and when you combine them together, it's it's quite enjoyable. Um, let's see. Uh, what were its good points and bad points? I think I've already pointed that out. Um, what scene did you particularly enjoy or remember? Um, I like the head smashing. I like them going into room 306. Not a lot happens in it, but it's creepy. It's basically just the whole location and the set designs and art designs and all that stuff. I thought did a really good job. Not sure how much work they had to put in. If it's a functioning, you know, resort, they probably just had to drag in a lot of palm trees and flip some chairs over and stuff. But um, I thought that stuff looked really good. What scene? Okay, what scene did you not enjoy? Uh, Probably just the character of Sam just kind of disrespecting what's in the area. Um, I think you should just leave things alone. There's a in between Vegas, where I live, and Los Angeles, at its midpoint, there's an abandoned waterside park. And it's been just destroyed. And it was so beautiful when I first saw it. I mean, it was literally like a Twilight Zone episode where it looked like just everybody vanished. I mean, all the paperwork was there, the cups were there, everything was there, chairs, desks, filing cabinets. It was all there. It was beautiful looking. Like, oh my God, the space is gorgeous. And then over the years, people burnt stuff down and they graffitied, and it just looks like shit. People went in to steal the copper, and now it just looks awful. And I just think places like that should be left alone. Just leave it alone. And so it frustrated me with Sam because he's, like I said, he's the type of guy who would, start a bar fight just to be a jerk. Um, with him, dropping the bottle of alcohol when he was done with it, or smashing a window for absolutely no reason at all, or moving this cart around that you would put luggage on. It's just disrespecting what's around it. And then, of course, if I am wrong, and there are ghosts and all that type of stuff that live in these abandoned buildings, all you're doing is messing with them, and they're going to mess with you back. So maybe if you showed the place respect, nothing would happen to you. Um, so I just didn't. So I guess the stuff I didn't like was him messing with the place. But I guess you have to. You have to have that one character that does that type of stuff. Would you recommend this film? Yes, I would. You just have to know that it's a slow burn, even though it's a short movie. Stuff doesn't really happen until about 50 minutes into it. Um, and it says, what sort of people would you recommend it to? Um, I would recommend it to horror people, sci-fi people, people that like even kind of like found footage type movies. I would recommend, even though there's no found footage in this, um, it feels kind of like a found footage film in a way. Um, uh, I would recommend it to anybody who likes like supernatural type films, Paranormal Activity or Blair Witch. So yeah, I would recommend it. Are there other films you can compare this to? Um, well, Blair Witch would be one. Um, Anything that deals with something haunted. Like I said, a haunted house or a haunted, I don't know, town, anything like that. So I don't. This also would have been like a good zombie movie to do that if it's maybe put more people on there, like maybe it's three groups of people, like three couples go, and there's zombies on the island. I mean, this also would have been a good zombie movie too. So, uh, but yeah, that's kind of my review of it. I'm sorry for kind of jumping all around with it. But there's just, I think, a lot to talk about, surprisingly, with this film, and I would like to learn more about it. I think it's available on Hulu. I bought the DVD used at Zia Records, which is our local store out here, and but I do recommend it. If you could see it, just know it's a slow burn, and then things start to happen. Um, uh, the only scene that I think is really stupid in it is when Chris does say, "Let's, well, we're going to dig a hole," but I guess he's desperate to get out. Um, I mean, I guess they could try to just jump over the fence, kind of climb it and jump over, but yeah, I don't know. I liked it. So, like I said, like 3 out of 5 stars, maybe 3.5. Um, so I'd check it out. So thanks everybody. I appreciate you watching this review. Um, Let me know if you've seen it or you liked it. Please, leave me a comment down below. I mean, like I said, this thing has gotten so much hate, and I really don't know why. There's better films, but there's a lot worse. I mean, I've turned off films that have much bigger budgets than this, and it's, I don't know. I liked it. I know I'm saying that a lot, but I did because it's getting so much hate. So let me know what you think, and I will see you on the next video. Okay, bye.